Welcome to the first round of the National Invitation Tournament here in beautiful Raleigh, North Carolina. Inside historic Reynolds Coliseum, it is James T. Valvano Arena, and NC State, the 2 seed, will tangle with the regular season champs out of the Colonial Athletic Association, the Hofstra Pride. Great to have you with us. The bracket looks like this. The winner of this first round matchup will battle the winner of Georgetown and Harvard. That game tomorrow night right here on ESPN2. Great to have you with us courtside. Postseason basketball has arrived with Paul Biancardi, the former Raleigh Coach of the Year. I am Roy Philpott. If you like points, if you like three-point shooting, you've come to the right place.
Yeah, tonight's matchup is all about pace and points. Each team can play a fast pace, but they also both can score a lot of points. Going to be fun.
And for the Pride, Justin Wright Foreman, second in the country in scoring against William & Mary last month. Paulie poured in 48 points, 37 in the second half.
Two-time Player of the Year in the Colonial. The best part of his offensive game, the pull-up jump shot. He's special because he can score big points with efficiency.
Justin Wright Foreman, one of the best in the business, trailing only Chris Clements for Campbell, for the top scoring honors in the country this year. Meanwhile, for NC State, the Pack, with a net ranking of 33, had their bubble burst on Selection Sunday. The question remains, does NC State want to be in the NIT? Judging by our conversations with this program today, the answer is yes. And by the way, it's a sold-out James T. Valvano Arena inside of Reynolds Coliseum. A packed house on hand tonight. Inside the door and rejected, and Hofstra with possession.
Each team wants to go up and down. They have quick hitters on offense, and NC State loves to pressure to turn you over.
Well, you love the environment tonight. Inside, a shot off the mark by Jaquil Taylor. Wright Foreman, second in the country in scoring. Bowie, one of the top free throw shooters in the land, at 92% from the line. This team can score at will.
Just look at the way each team pushes the ball up the floor with speed on the dribble. Not afraid to put it up early.
Tariq Coburn from downtown. Couple of bounces and the rebound to Dorn.
Each team seems very loose, Roy, after shoot around today. A little bit more pressure on NC State, but Kevin Keats has him in the right mind frame.
And Keats in his second season as Beverly comes up short. The rebound to Wright Foreman. Dorn, the leading scorer and rebounder for State. Off the glass in our first bucket to Jaquil Taylor.
Taylor just outruns the defense down the floor. For Hofstra, the Pride. They're going to sit in the 2-3 zone. NC State has worked on this yesterday at practice. Today at shoot around. They're going to have to dissect that zone, get it right into the middle of the ACC.
Dorn in the paint, off the mark.
When you get it there in the middle, you got to score it or give it up.
Right, Foreman comes up a little short. NC State still without a bucket. And Beverly will change that.
I love the aggressive mindset by the Wolfpack. They're not going to pull it out. They're not going to run offense. They're going to go. Kevin Keats says, let's run, sprint, and beat them down the floor.
We got 10 shots up combined in less than 2 minutes.
This is going to be a high possession game, Roy. Hofstra comes in averaging 83 points a game. That's top 10 in the nation. Wolfpack, 79 points a game.
The Pack, 500 team in the ACC. Lost to Virginia in the ACC tournament. That was the quarterfinal round. After a win against Clemson, most people thought the Pack were going to be in the dance. That did not happen. And tell you what, it's a challenge for coaches to get their team ready to go when they don't make the field of 68. And the first bucket for Justin Wright Foreman. That's a 3-ball.
Well, you can't leave him open. Number 2 in the nation in scoring, 43% from 3. He's a 180 shooter, Roy. You add up his free throws, field goal percentage, and threes, it comes out to 180. That's what the NBA looks for in scoring guards.
And he is an NBA prospect.
No question about it. Second round pick right now on the board.
Tested the waters a year ago. Decided to return to school. Walker the rebound. Here comes State. Our first look at C.K. Bryce. Fade away.
Bryce, a 3-level scorer, one-on-one expert, I call him. 6'5", good size, redshirt junior.
Off the bounce and an offensive foul against Eli Pemberton. That's his first. Hofstra, a team that won the regular season championship in the CAA. They were eliminated by Northeastern in the conference championship game. Second appearance in the NIT for Joe Mihalik.
Joe Mihalik said at shoot-around today, hey, we're going to score. That's what we do. Can we stop NC State, and can we limit our turnovers? That's the key for Hofstra tonight.
Little up and under. Johnson connects, and Markel Johnson his first basket. NC State its first lead.
Zone didn't look good on that possession. Too many holes, too many gaps. NC State just drove the gap.
Coburn, sweet cut, tosses that one up, and free throws coming for numeral 0 in blue. Joe Mihalik, 6th season, second appearance in the NIT for the Hofstra Pride out of the CAA. Energetic coach. We had a lot of fun sitting in with him in their hotel walkthrough and their shoot around this morning here at Reynolds Coliseum.
Yeah, 27 wins. That's a program record for Hofstra. Joe Mihalik, one of the most respected coaches in the game.
A foul went against Wyatt Walker, his first. Coburn, an 81% free throw shooter.
Joe Mihalik built up that Niagara program. Put him in the postseason. He's done the same here at Hofstra. One-time assistant to Morgan Wooten at DeMatha Catholic.
And a lot of connections between Morgan Wooten and this NC State program. Of course, the great Derek Wittenberg. Sidney Lowe playing ball up there, coming down here, winning a national championship back in the day.
Joe Mihalik's been around greatness. How about as an assistant at LaSalle with the great Speedy Morris and the L Train?
Lionel Simmons.
Ooh, you remember.
The team lost only one game in the regular season back in 1990. Eliminated by Clemson in the round of 32. Johnson off the bounce. And the putback, DJ Funderburk.
All 8 of the points for the Wolfpack in the paint. That's where they make a living. They average 34 points a game. They have to get to that number.
I mean, Paul, this NC State team does pass the postseason eye test, do they not?
Absolutely they do. And the way they play, nobody wants to play against that type of pressure all game. It's not just full court pressure, it's half court pressure and defensive pressure. Kevin Keats told me we want to get 40 deflections per game.
Foul on Johnson, 3 free throws coming up for Wright Foreman. 8-6, still early. Well, it's just last Wednesday down inside Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Second round of the ACC tournament. Elijah Thomas had a putback for Clemson as the Tigers took a 1-point advantage against State. Then a foul against Clyde Trapp sent Markel Johnson to the stripe. Johnson made a couple of free throws. NC State, in controversial fashion, found a way to steal one at the end. And at the time, the thought was that was a play-in game for the tournament. In fact, it was not. The final 59-58. The metrics tell you the Wolfpack certainly passed the eye test, but NC State wasn't even deemed a 1 seed in the NIT, so not one of the first 4 left out of the tournament. That prompted Debbie Yao, the athletic director here at NC State, to issue a statement. Disappointed for our athletes and coaches and fans. The total body of work was not rewarded with the selection to the tournament, citing an 8-9 record against Quad 1 and Quad 2 teams, and still coming up just short. Little controversy here along Tobacco Road in the last 7 days, Paulie.
Well, I think when you make a statement like that, it carries over into the coaches, into the team. Now Kevin Keats has to fight that statement with his team. Sunday night, Roy, comes around and you're not in. You've got to regroup, refocus on what's in front of you, and that's the NIT. You have a chance to play for a championship. Hey, you got a chance to play again. There's a lot of teams right now, a couple hundred teams that are not playing basketball. So I think for Kevin Keats, his job is to refocus and get his team with new purpose. Debbie Yao did her job. Now you move on. Understand the frustration and disappointment.
Trapping full court pressure. Nearly a turnover as Wright Foreman tried to chase that one down. Well, for Kevin Keats, I think the question is, what does he have to do next year, putting together a schedule to make sure that his team is best equipped to make it to the dance? He got there as a head coach at Wilmington for a couple of seasons. Now at NC State, you're going to a 20-game conference slate next year inside the ACC. What do you do in your non-conference schedule?
They won 20 games the last 2 years in the ACC. One of the bright young coaches in the game. And he said, look, I scheduled Vanderbilt, but they had an injury with Darius Garland. I didn't know that was going to happen. That could have been a quad 2 or a quad 1 game potentially.
But think about this. This team beat the SEC tournament champion Auburn Tigers in the regular season here at home this season. And yet that still wasn't deemed enough to punch their ticket.
They also came up empty against Duke, Virginia, and North Carolina. And I think one of those games could have put them into the tournament.
But how many teams are going to beat those programs this year, right?
Not
Number
many.
1 seeds.
But you got opportunity. And I think that's what some of the argument is from the committee. There's other measures as well. There's the ESPN's BPI, the strength of record, the KPI, Ken Palm, and Sagarin. They're all metrics into determining who gets in. It's not just the net. The net is a metric that's used.
Yeah, but the Philpott Tournament Index has NC State in the dance. They had them in the dance.
Well, you'd have Clemson in too, but that's another story. They're playing, Brad Brownell playing his old school tonight in Wright State.
That's a tough battle. Bryce inside, too strong, but with a putback. And C.J. Bryce with 4.
Yeah, the more you complain about the situation, the more it hurts you to advance in the NIT tournament. That's my opinion. You make your comment and you move on.
And let's be honest. You make a run to MSG, to the Final Four in the NIT, it sets the table for next season and what you want to accomplish then.
No question. This is a building block tournament for NC State. A lot of good can come out of winning in this tournament.
Pemberton, top of the key, back iron. Johnson claims the rebound.
Everyone back for the Wolfpack. Turin Dorn, the one senior that plays a lot of minutes.
From the corner, count it. And Bryce starting to catch fire. He's got 7.
37% from 3. You have to locate him in the zone.
Good-looking player that started his career at UNC Wilmington. Hofstra turns it over. Don't forget to catch every moment of the 2019 National Invitation Tournament on the ESPN family of networks. For more information, visit NCAA.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Pack lead it by 4 with Paul Biancardi, Roy Philpott. We are 6 minutes in here inside historic Reynolds Coliseum. Recently renamed Valvano Arena back in December. And I'm telling you this, you're thinking about remodeling your facility, especially at the mid-major level, but really anywhere. This is a great venue to check out because it is cozy basketball here in Raleigh. And inside, right for him in the basket, he's got 8.
Well, that breaks a 4-minute drought by the Pride. The Reynolds Coliseum just looks beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I was here in 1990 as a young assistant. It's changed.
Did you get a chance to talk to Jimmy V?
That's it. Just wanted to shake his hand after the game. Had a chance to do that. Got beat by 30 by Chris Corciani and Rodney Monroe.
Fire and ice. Eric Lockett checking in for the first time, as does Daniels, 24 in white. Now Kevin Keats going into his bench. Evan Daniels, the transfer from Utah, had a great start out in Pac-12 country. Doing a nice job here in the ACC so far. Jalen Ray connects his first bucket.
5 lefties on this Hofstra team.
That's something you got to prepare for a little differently as a coach, right?
Well, yes, when it comes to scouting report defense, you have to know which way the player likes to drive, and most guys like to drive to their dominant hand.
Helms turns it over. Tied at 13 and an offensive foul. That'll be Pemberton's second.
I'm impressed with the aggressiveness of NC State out of the gate, but also their positioning defensively. They are moving their feet, staying in front of the ball. Look at that. Took it right on the NC State. Knocked them right down. That was a great defensive possession by the Wolfpack.
Daniels, count it. Devin Daniels, a redshirt sophomore. Here's Bowie. Third leading free throw shooter in the country. 10 to shoot. Little pick and roll. And Bowie from downtown side rim.
That was big time defense by the Wolfpack. They stayed in front of the ball, challenged the shot, cleaned up the glass.
Funderburk. And Wright Foreman clears a rebound.
Not the best part of his game.
Funderburk started his career at Ohio State. Daniels the rebound. Good start for the nation's second leading scorer, Justin Wright Foreman. And Funderburk will shoot 2. Wolfpack lead it by 3, 11:29 to go in a fast-moving first half.
For the Wolfpack, it's all about their pressure defense. Kevin Keats loves to pressure in the backcourt. They're in a 2-2-1. You throw it over half court, you invite the trap. You got a middle defender splitting 2 guys, and they got the sideline covered. You don't want to throw it over half court and pick up your dribble. NC State's going to pick a pocket and turn defense into offense. They do it as well as anyone in the nation, one of the best in turnover margin. Right now, Hofstra only shooting 30% from the floor, 16% from 3. The State's defense is essentially their offense, Roy.
What you love about Kevin Keats here at NC State, he's building. In his first 2 seasons, they've won 20-plus games. They made the tournament last year, but he's building a brand as well with that full court pressure. I think it's very inviting for talented younger players to say, you know, I want to play for that guy, right?
No question about it. Last year in the battle for Atlantis, he had an undermanned team down there 3 games and 3 nights. I went in and watched shoot around. I went in and watched practice. He pressed 3 games in a row with only 8 players. They didn't have Braxton Beverly at that point. And I said, Kevin, are you going to back up a little bit? He goes, we press.
Right.
That's what we do. 40 minutes of pressure. Now, it comes in different forms. It's on the ball, it's off the ball, and it sometimes could be half court. But they're trying to get 40 deflections per game. That's the number. When they do that, they win.
Working against that pressure, the Pride trail it by 4. Hofstra claimed the CAA regular season championship this year. Eliminated in the championship game of the tournament just last weekend. The sweet bounce for Bowie, his first bucket. Well, back to a 1-possession game, 9 minutes in. Winner of this one plays the winner of Georgetown and Harvard. That game tomorrow night right here on ESPN2 at 7 o'clock.
Georgetown can score points. Pat Ewing, a defensive presence in his day. His team's getting almost 80 a game, but they're giving up 76.
Funderburk in and out against the zone, and the rebound pops out to Ray. And outside to Coburn, who's fouled on the triple, and a chance for 4. Eric Lockett's got to know better than that.
This Hofstra team shoots it at 39% from 3. Coburn, one of the better shooters on the team, at 43%. You want to contest, but you don't want to hit. Nice ball fake. The drive and pitch. Another lefty knocking it down.
You know, Lockett started his career at Florida International, graduate transfer here to NC State. Coburn started his career at St. Bonaventure. And how many times have we said statements like that in college basketball in recent years? The transfer epidemic. And I think the good news is that you can really transform your program in just a single offseason by bringing in grad transfers or players looking to go elsewhere. And you see Hofstra, Hempstead, New York. About the notable alumni. Bob McKillop, head coach at Davidson. They're in action tonight.
What a player they have in Kellen Grady. My goodness, one of the best shooters in the country.
Carol Alt. You know who Carol Alt is?
I do not.
Supermodel. You know Chris Walken. Everybody knows Christopher Walken. Morcaba.
I know Steph Curry.
Yeah, I do as well. Foul win against Jalen Ray. That's his first. Entertaining start as we expected here in the first round of the NIT.
Yeah, each team playing to their strength. Hofstra sticking in that zone all game long. They're not going to change their colors at this point. You don't change anything. You just tweak it once it comes to the postseason.
From downtown, there's Markel Johnson again. He's got 5. NC State back in front.
Well, if the Pack can make threes, now they go from tough to play against to dangerous.
Off the bounce. Johnson picks up his second. And free throws upcoming for Shaquille Taylor. 71% at the line for Hofstra. Won that CAA regular season title. Joe Mahalik, coach of the year in the league. Justin Wright Foreman, not only player of the year this year, but last season as well. And how difficult is that to do, to repeat conference player of the year awards? That's impressive.
Especially when you're the first option and the second option sometimes. And every team has their scouting report geared right to you. Eli Pemberton, second team CAA, and de jour Bowie, defensive player of the year. Hofstra picking up some hardware.
Already 6 lead changes in this one. Pride back in front by a point.
27 wins by Joe Mihalik. That's a lot of wins, Roy. Some coaches don't win that in 2 years.
Or more. Here's Bryce. Will feed Doran. And saved brilliantly by Bowie.
Doran got a good look. He is terrific from that mid-range.
Right, Foreman, it's all net. That's a long 2. He's now in double figures with 10.
Anytime Wright Foreman has the ball, you cannot give him any airspace. He's got to feel your body before the shot goes up. Got to take him out of his rhythm.
Beverly left open and connects. Braxton Beverly, one of the top 3-point shooters in the ACC.
Beverly played his high school basketball Hargrave Military Academy. Kevin Keats, once the head coach.
And the step back for Bowie. Back and forth we go. Hofstra now leads by 2. Well, if you like points, you like 3-point shooting. We mentioned it early tonight. You found the right basketball game. Walker on cue.
Not his shot.
No, it's not.
Him and Funderburk do it in the paint or at the elbows.
Johnson from the corner launches. Walker on the offensive glass and a fresh 30. Bryce already with 7. And a putback. Markel Johnson.
Second chance opportunity, the jump shot. Markel Johnson with the flush and a little push up. Let's see who is underneath him. There's the flush. You got to let go. Nobody around.
Well, they teed him up for holding on the rim. Slap the backboard on the way down. Come on. Come on, Paulie.
It was a half a chin up. What did I call it? A push up? A half a chin up. They don't want you pulling up on the rim when there's nobody underneath. It's only to protect yourself. By rule, that was the right call.
Well, the crowd loved it. Kevin Keats, an earful for our veteran officiating crew. Clarence Armstrong, Nathan Farrell, Tim Comer. Our officials tonight. Now, you think this game doesn't mean something? You think a run in the NIT doesn't mean something?
And there's Kevin Keats letting the official know he wasn't happy with that, and hopefully he gets the next call.
Tied at 25, Wright Foreman inside. He has 12, and no technical foul issue there. A sellout crowd here inside Valvano Arena at Reynolds Coliseum. Doran, elbow jumper.
He's terrific from inside the arc and outside. But he's got the composure and the poise to make that shot. That spot's going to be open, Roy, all night in that zone. Joe Mihalik will let you take that one. He wants to take away the 3.
Sweet look inside. And Taylor, he's got 6. Pride lead it by 2.
Now the fans are on every dunk by Hofstra. Defense hasn't been very good. Got a little bit of a dunk fest going on.
Doran turns it over. Here comes Bowie. And the easy basket almost, but it was missed by Trueheart. So Stafford Trueheart checks in, missed the chippy. And Doran now with 4.
Love the offense, but somebody has to get back, and the ball's got to be guarded a little bit tougher.
You love the energy in this arena as well. 9 ties already. Back iron. Bowie off the mark. And a foul against Hofstra. Well, coming up next, our Paul Biancardi will join the huddle of the Pride. And a fast start offensively for both sides. Wright Foreman with the basket. that last break. Markel Johnson's three-point shot changed to a 2, but clearly on the line. And so that changes our score 29-28. Hofstra with the 1-point lead. Also that technical foul, just for clarity purposes, because the backboard was slapped. And also don't forget experimental rules this year in the NIT. Deeper three-point line. Free throw lane has been widened by 4 feet to match NBA standards. Team fouls reset at the 10-minute mark of each half. Bonus is achieved with 5 personal fouls, and then that resets again with 9:59 to go. We'll get more to these as we go through here tonight. Meanwhile, our Paul Biancardi now returns from the Hofstra huddle. I'm very curious to hear what you were told or what you were able to gather from head coach Joe Mihalik.
Yeah, Joe Mihalik was talking to Justin Wright Foreman, talking about you got to move more to get open. And he had his head down. He said, look at me. He said, I'm telling you this because I love you. You got to move more to get open. Joe Mihalik told us today at shoot-around how coachable Wright Foreman is. He also talked to the team about second chance opportunities. We got to block out in that zone if we want to win this game. Great huddle by Joe Mihalik.
Bowie from the corner, too strong. Love the hustle there, coach. Love the hustle.
That was a sprint. In case you think it was a jog, that is my sprint right now. But just getting into his best player, but connecting with them as well. Outstanding.
Dorn, the baseline jumper. He's got 6. State back in front. Wright Foreman already with 12. Will zip it over baseline. The triple by Ray is short. Bryce tried the Euro step. And they're going to call that an offensive foul. No basket. First on C.J. Bryce.
Boy, NC State looks like they got shot out of a cannon on this possession. Just pushing it down the floor with speed.
Bowie was moving there.
And he moved right into him. That should have been a block. It's a bang-bang play, and not a good call by the official.
Note the fouls reset at the 9:59 mark of our first half using the experimental rules here with the NIT. 5 fouls equates to the bonus. Off the attempted turnover, an easy basket for Bowie. He has 6. Hofstra back in front by a point.
The biggest thing that Kevin Keats has to coach is confidence and energy in this game.
Good look by Beverly. Dorn tied up, puts it up and in. Basket will count. And Torin Dorn suddenly with 8 and a chance for 9.
Wolfpack came out strong, but there's going to be runs by Hofstra in this game. You can't have that NCAA hangover about the NCAA tournament versus the NIT. So when Hofstra puts on that run, it's got to be mentally tough.
I'll ask you the question, how difficult is it to press the reset button when you're severely disappointed on Selection Sunday?
It's really hard, but it starts with the head coach, and Kevin Keats by Monday morning hit that reset button with himself and his staff and has been constantly in the ear of his team. In fact, he was sending text messages to his team Monday morning to build them up.
That's how you do it with millennials these days. You text them. You text them how you're going to get over this.
Well, you could send them a DM, maybe on Instagram. They'll read that, too.
Ray from downtown rattles that one home. Hofstra back in front, 34-33.
Kevin Keats is so great at communicating. In a practice last night, he was hard on him, but positive. We saw shoot-around today. Very upbeat by the Wolfpack.
Back to Hofstra. The emotions running high here inside Reynolds Coliseum. Pride with the lead, and Paulie, you love the emotion of these two sides.
Well, you want emotion, energy, and enthusiasm. Kevin Keats has his team ready to play.
Well, Well, the first four of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship continues tomorrow over on True TV beginning at 6:30 p.m. For more information on tournament game times and listings, go to ncaa.com. Back inside Valvano Arena here at Reynolds Coliseum. Paul Biancardi, Roy Philpott, great to have you with us. First round of the NIT. And back and forth we have gone thus far. Hofstra with a 1-point lead, the 7th seed against number 2 seed NC State. Two teams have combined to make 6 threes, shooting about 46% apiece. Back iron for Daniels, and here comes the Pride.
8 lead changes in this game, Roy.
Coburn off the bounce, a wide open Jalen Ray. All net.
It's like a shootout at the YMCA next door. The ball is going up, and it's going in.
Ray's got 8. The lead is 4. Winner of this game will get the winner of Georgetown and Harvard. That game to be played tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, right here on ESPN2. As Bryce responds, he has 9.
I like the way NC State is not just settling for the 3-point shot. They're getting it to the middle. They're getting it to the gaps off the drive. They're taking those 2-point shots, and they're going down.
We think about Hofstra really just a couple of possessions away from playing in the dance. As Wright Foreman turns it over, he slipped and fell. Inside out has been beautiful so far tonight for Hofstra, though, Coach.
Well, Hofstra loves the drive and kick game. Jalen Ray, another lefty, 40%. You get to the paint, Roy, you can find shooters. A lot of coaches coach paint touches on offense. They want to get in there and spray it out. Same thing whether it's man or zone.
Under 3 to play in our first half. Pack trying to get the lead right back. 3 ball will do that. Bryce. And a foul on Lockett. That'll be his 2nd. Well, what Kevin Keats says, he's building a program. To your point, Torn Doran and Lockett will be the only 2 players not on this roster next year that are getting minutes this season. You make a run to MSG, you find a way to win this game tonight, pick up some mojo. It can mean a lot for next year, correct?
It can mean everything. Great back cut.
And Wright Foreman a chance for 3 more. Already with 14 points for the nation's 2nd leading scorer.
That's what Joe Mihalik was talking about in the huddle. He said to Wright Foreman, you got to move without the ball a little bit more. How about that cut, coach? Now with a chance for a 3-point play. Beautiful back cut. You move without the ball will find you.
Wright Foreman right now being talked about as a potential 2nd-round pick later this summer in the NBA draft. What does he have to do to enhance his stock?
He's very efficient right now as a scorer. I believe he has to be a better playmaker. He can score buckets all 3 levels. Threes, mid-range, at the rim, and he is great from the free throw line. As I mentioned, a 180 shooter.
Give me those metrics again.
That's 90% from the field, 50% from 2, and 40% from 3. However you can add up to 180, that's what the NBA looks for.
So you want him to be the next Dirk Nowitzki with those kinds of numbers. That's impressive. That's tough.
At 6'1", he can do it. His favorite player, he told us to shoot around, Damian Lillard. Likes that mid-major player who's exceeded in the NBA.
You think about mid-major standouts like Chris Clemens at Campbell leads the country in scoring. Wright Foreman 2nd in the nation.
Jermaine Marrow, top 10 from Hampton.
I was also going to suggest John Morant at Murray State, who's in the tournament. He's going to be probably a top 5 pick.
Yeah, there's a home for guys that can really stroke it behind the line. Doesn't matter how big or small you are. He's only 6'1", 6'2", but he's got a 6'6" wingspan, Wright Foreman.
He'll dish it to the wing. Coburn off the mark. State trailing by 5, but with possession.
NC State's going to have to match the offensive potency of Hofstra.
Bryce blocked. Taylor snuck in there for the rejection.
And they don't walk it. They push it.
NC State out of the ACC just missed out on the NCAA tournament. Had impressive wins this season against Auburn. Wright Foreman was fouled again on the triple. 2nd time tonight that has happened. 3 free throws coming for number 3.
Right foreman is great at the step back. Pounds it hard, steps in with his right foot. That right foot, left foot, I'm sorry. And then the step back. And as you close out, you lose your balance. Right foreman just waiting for the contact. I mean, he is waiting for it. He loves it.
That was a long two, so only 2 free throws for number 3.
He takes a lot of long twos.
Here's a look at the top 5 scorers in the country. How about 3 of those players in the NIT? Mike Tom, South Dakota State. Justin Wright Foreman, Chris Clemens. They're battling UNCG in a 1 versus 8 tonight.
On E3, I'll tell you what. If you're not watching this game, you should be watching Chris Clemens right now. That boy can score buckets. I mean, he does it from deep. Deepest three-point shooter in college basketball.
Second basket for Beverly. It's an 11-4 run for Hofstra. The Pride with a 5-point lead on the road here at NC State. Well, an incredible start for Justin Wright Foreman, the second leading scorer in the country. 27 points per game, and pick your poison with his ability in this one.
Well, his game has popped, and his jumper has range. Puts pressure on the defense at the rim. Loves the long 2-point shot, and that pull-up, Roy, is the best part of his game. How about moving without the basketball for the backdoor cut? Scores in a variety of ways. An alpha dog mentality. He can beat a loaded defense. So it's not just his defender, he can beat the help. 17 points tonight. He's also perfect at the stripe. And there are NBA scouts in attendance for this one. And you gotta like the fact he's 6 for 6 at the free throw line. They like his scoring ability and his wingspan. On cue, contested shot, that one well short. Well, the shot clock will be off for NC State, trailing by 5. And he's 6'1", 6'2". He'll be a 2-guard in the NBA. May struggle to defend. He'll have to cover point guards. So a good start for the CAA on the road. And a timeout on the floor. 42-37, Hofstra with the advantage. 22 and change remaining in our first half in the first round of the NIT. The score tells the story. NC State, Paul, with possession. What does Kevin Keats want to do here? He's got to attack that 2-3 zone. It is a traditional zone, but at times it has some tricky slides to it. They match up man-to-man for a cut or two. The ball has to continue to go to the ACC, the red in the middle. Once it goes middle, I like to see it go corner. I'd like to see Braxton Beverly get a 3-point shot off before the half. He's made 1 from downtown so far tonight. Shot clock is off. A very entertaining start in the NIT. Most important thing is get the last shot of the half. If you're NC State, don't go too early. Dorn at the rim. 1 possession game on the final possession of our first half, and Torn Dorn closes out strong with 11 first half points. Well, State needed one against the zone. The gap was wide open. The senior, strong drive to the basket. 42-39 our halftime score. After the break, we'll get you back to Chris Cotter for the halftime report. Back in Raleigh, North Carolina, the first round of the NIT continues. Here inside Reynolds Coliseum, the start of our second half. 42-39 the score. The 7 seed Hofstra out of the CAA with the advantage over the ACC's NC State Wolfpack. With Paul Biancardi, Roy Philpott. Great to have you with us as always, and entertaining first 20 minutes in the books here in Raleigh. Yeah, Justin Wright Foreman, sensational. 17 points in 19 minutes, and he does it from 3 different levels, plus the free throw line. We thought there would be pace, we thought there would be points, and 3-point shooting for both sides. They did not disappoint. Well, he shoots it from deep. Great in transition, the ability to finish. Moves without the basketball. Gets himself to the line. Everywhere and anywhere on the floor, he's comfortable. For the Wolfpack, Torn Dorn, the master of the mid-range. Well, the senior doesn't want to go home and end his season. Terrific job in the middle of the paint, finishing inside, attacking that zone, Roy. Kevin Keats using him in a variety of ways. 2 points before the half on the drive.
Well, great halftime here inside Valvano Arena at Reynolds Coliseum. The great Derek Wittenberg stopped by to talk with us for a minute. As you see, the first half stats relatively even, and you asked him the question. I'm going to put it out there. Was it a pass or a shot in the '83 championship against Houston? And he said,
it's been 16 years. You know it's a pass.
No, it's been a little longer than 16, but
that's what he said.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it an airball pass.
It was a pass. I've known Witt for a long time. You have as well. We worked together at ESPN. When I first got started, he was fantastic. He was fantastic to work with.
Former head coach of Fordham.
Yep.
Assistant coach with Jimmy V at one time here at NC State.
Hofstra leads it by 3 for NC State. What do the Pack need to do here in the second half to make sure they hold serve?
Well, they got to start forcing turnovers. Hofstra only with 4 turnovers in this game, and they got to start getting some steals, the Wolfpack. No steals in this game. They average 7.5 a game. Defense is going to have to force turnovers and get steals to get this lead.
NC State, one of the last teams left out of the field of 68. Bryce off the mark, and a foul inside against Taylor for Hofstra. Well, you love Witt hanging out with one of the all-time legends. He can tell a story better than most.
He had some Hall of Famers with him the other night, didn't he? Ralph Sampson, a few others.
That was just last night, he said.
He's telling stories.
Well, Survive and Advance was on ESPNU last night. I watched it for probably the 75th time. And honestly, it never gets old because the drama just builds throughout those 2 hours.
One of the most sensational stories in all of college basketball, what Jimmy V did with that team and how close and connected they were as a unit to this day today.
Wittenberg, the executive producer, as Johnson ties it up from downtown. And a great job by the overall producer, Jonathan Hawk. The late Jimmy V, his presence still felt in this area and around the country. You told me earlier, when you were coming up through the ranks, you aspired to be a coach like Jimmy V.
Absolutely. We watched him win the national championship in 1983. How about the statue outside of Reynolds Arena of Jimmy V in every case? Young coach wanted to do what he did. Win a national championship, run around and hug somebody.
Valvano Arena rebranded back in December here at Reynolds Coliseum, and it's just great to be here. Off the steal, ahead to Johnson. What the flush! Wolfpack by 2. And a timeout called by Joe Mahalik.
NC State's best offense is their defense when they get steals and turnovers. First steal of the game leads to 2 easy points. Wolfpack up 2.
And NC State set to open against Georgia Tech on the ACC network. That's headed your way next November 5th. Mark your calendars. Conference play starts early next year in the Rough and Rugged ACC.
We're already talking about conference play for next year. ACC network is going to be fantastic.
Contact and an offensive foul. That'll be the 3rd on Pemberton. And I tell you, Wyatt Walker absorbed, run into that force.
So think about some of these possessions. A steal that leads to fast break points. Wyatt Walker, look at that. Perfect job playing 2 and then stepping in, taking the charge. Great job on that defensive possession by the Wolfpack. And that energizes the Wolfpack, and it gets this crowd into the game.
A sellout crowd.
They've been into it, but they want to win it.
Off the steal. Ahead to Pemberton. Missed the dunk. And Beverly saves the layup. It'll stay on this end, but how about the hustle for number 10 in white?
Great job by Braxton Beverly. He's not in the play, but you're going to see him in a second. Watch the hustle and the strip.
I had a couple of State fans on Twitter send me a note back in the first half. Is NC State into this game?
Big time.
I think that right there, that last sequence tells you the answer. As Dorn claims the rebound.
Look, they've come out ready to play. Not a great shooting team. They're making shots. Hofstra's a very good team. 27 wins. They don't turn it over. State needs some more steals and some threes.
Bryce on the offensive glass and a putback. A 7-0 run for the Wolfpack out of the break.
A concern for Joe Mihalik. With State on the offensive glass, he says, look, they can't play volleyball against us on the offensive glass.
To Taylor. Excuse me, Paulie. First points of the second half for Hofstra, a regular season champs in the CAA.
They expect NC State to pressure, put on runs, crowd to get into it. This is a battle-tested team, Hofstra. And they're an old team, Roy. They have talented, experience, juniors and seniors.
Off the pump fake, Pemberton. Little stop and pop with a mid-range. That'll tie it at 46.
Don't sleep on Pemberton. 15 points a game. Second all-conference player.
Walker feeds Dorn. Short, and a chance for three for C.J. Bryce. He's been a beast on the boards tonight.
NC State not making shots from the outside, but they are attacking the offensive glass.
That's a fourth foul on Pemberton.
This is where State can really beat you on the missed shot. Sometimes people say it's their best shot.
Joe Mihalik reciting that phrase several times in the hotel walkthrough this morning, right?
I didn't want to give up who said it, but yes, obviously the coach at Hofstra was one of many coaches. Said State, when they miss it, they can go get it.
Bryce with 14. Devin Daniels will check back in. Well, don't forget, our NBA Wednesday doubleheader starts in Philadelphia with a big Eastern Conference matchup. The Celtics and the 76ers at 7 Eastern. Then it's off to OKC for another great one between Kawhi and the Raptors, and Russell Westbrook and the Thunder, both games on ESPN, also the ESPN app, and it is almost playoff time in the association. That's going to be here before you know it.
Celtics and Sixers, is that a rivalry again, or what?
Inside,
what do you think?
Taylor the dunk. Of course it is. Joel Embiid.
Kyrie Irving. Ben Simmons.
I mean, Joel Embiid has made Philadelphia interesting again for maybe the first time in like 2 decades.
He's got everybody mad at him.
Which is good. Dorn, baseline. I like interesting. Joel Embiid is interesting. This matchup tonight has been interesting in the NIT.
It has, because they're two potent offensive teams. Neither team backing down in terms of their offensive attack.
Bowie was fouled. Free throws upcoming for the Hofstra Pride.
Well, Hofstra scores 83 points a game. Here's 2 easy ones at the rim by Taylor.
Grades to play at Hofstra. A great Speedy Claxton, who won a championship with the Spurs in 2003, is a part of this staff and was instrumental in the development of Justin Wright Foreman, the second leading scorer in the country. And boy, you look back on his career, an incredible path to the league, guy that was always an underdog, but I tell you what, he carved out a niche, and he was phenomenal as a role player in the association, Paulie.
Christ the King High School out of New York City. Really connects with the players, does a great job with the guards, teaching them the game on the offensive end. Love the way he just explains things to the guys. You know, a lot of former players don't have the patience to coach the game. Speedy Claxton has the knowledge and the patience.
And we asked Justin Wright Foreman today, what has Speedy meant for you? If there's one thing you take away, first words out of his mouth, work ethic. And we've heard it from just about everybody associated with this Hofstra program. Justin Wright Foreman, a gym rat. He's getting up shots all the time. He's coachable. And Speedy Claxton, instrumental in that development to make sure that he's handled his business the right way.
He's also kept him humble. And that's a big part of growth, Roy. When players can not only be hungry, but humble.
Why are you looking at me when you say that? Are you telling me I'm not humble?
I'm glad you said it.
Okay. I just learned something right there. From downtown, Hofstra back in front. Coburn now with 8.
You must identify shooters. In fact, when you get back in defensive transition against Hofstra, once you run to the paint, you got to fan out to the line.
An open look for Bryce. Back iron. Tap to Doran. And a foul called against the Pride.
Good look by Bryce. Wide open, you got to take that shot, but you're not going to match this Hofstra Pride team with 3-point field goals. For NC State, drive it, attack the offensive glass, get some points from your defense. That's how you win this game.
And more with the mid-range with Doran with 13 already. Bryce, the bucket. He's got 14.
Nice little screening action by Kevin Keats. One of the better 3-point shooters, C.J. Bryce. You always want to run your actions for your best shooters, your best players, to get them the most shots. That's coaching.
Outsiders, Jalen Ray. Short on the triple. Bryce, the rebound. NC State won 22 games this year, 9-9 in the ACC. It was not enough to punch their ticket to the big dance. Thunderberg is short. Bryce on the offensive glass.
I don't get the big guys shooting the threes, Thunderberg and Walker. Their percentages scream. Stay closer.
Doran baseline again with a mid-range.
Yeah, Doran's tough from the mid-range. Smooth operator from 15 to 17. He's got an old school game.
State by a basket.
Nice double off the ball screen.
Elbow jumper. Bryce, another rebound.
Like the defense by State.
Johnson. Quick trigger. And a foul against Markel Johnson. Check that, Bryce. That'll be his 3rd.
C.J. Bryce, number 13 for NC State, makes a great cut on the left side of your screen. Watch him cut right to the middle. Move without the basketball. Your teammates will find you. Every time you move to the basket, the defense gets worried. They take their eye off you, you cut to the basket.
Bryce started his career with Kevin Keats at UNC Wilmington. Transferred in, sat out last season. Out of Charlotte, North Carolina. He'll have a breather right now. Rejected at the rack by Thunderberg. Ahead to Doran.
Great defense, creating offensive points for the Wolfpack. Now Kevin Keats extends the pressure.
And how about this crowd? And a foul inside against the Pack. That'll be on Daniels.
Watch Thunderberg. Waits, then blocks it. Braxton, beautiful push ahead. That's NC State basketball. Steals, blocks, forcing turnovers, and changing ends quickly.
Gray off the inbounds. Wild shot. Pops out to Daniels. NIT is using experimental rules this year. Deeper 3-point line. More on that in a minute. Catch every moment of the 2019 National Invitation Tournament on the ESPN family of networks. For more information, visit ncaa.com. And speaking of the experimental rules, NC State now in the bonus for the next 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Now that Hofstra has 5 personal fouls, that'll reset with under 10 to play here in our second half. And it really is like the equivalent of 4 quarters when you think about it, without the actual designation of 4 quarters.
That's
right?
exactly what it is. Keeps the game flowing. And once you hit 5, then you're shooting 2, but no shots before that. 3-point line has been moved back to 22 feet, almost 2 inches The FIBA three-point line. I like that. I think the college three-point line has had its day.
Largest lead for NC State. Call it 5. Coburn can't change that. Off the pump fake, Daniels gets it back and puts it in. 60-53, NC State. A 9-0 run for the Wolfpack to seize control. Wright Foreman's been held in check. Puts it in, a contested shot baseline.
What a spectacular shot by Justin Wright Foreman. But every time he's touching the ball, Roy, 2 are on him, body to body.
First points of the second half for the nation's second leading scorer. Funderburk is fouled. Taylor will pick up his second. Lead is 5 here in Raleigh. 11 minutes to go. Great stuff headed your way next week. Paulie Buckets, you're going to be a part of that, right?
I'll be courtside. I'll be the judge of that dunk contest. Monday night, 7:30.
How hard is it to judge a dunk contest where Zion Williamson is the star?
Well, that's easy. It's going to be, this year's going to be difficult. Nobody likes Zion Williamson. I'll tell you the favorite for that dunk competition coming up Monday night, Cole Anthony, the son of Greg Anthony. He won the dunk competition at the City of Palms. 6'3", he can flush it big. But also James Wiseman, the #1 player in the country, a 7-footer, he'll challenge.
It's Director of Recruiting for ESPN.com, Paul Biancardi, former Horizon League Coach of the Year. All-around good guy as well. This has been a lot of fun.
You read that perfectly, boy. That was the promo.
Funderburk, he's got 5. Lead is back to 7.
Funderburk's really protected the rim in the second half. And State, 14 second chance points just in the second half. Big difference.
Pride just 1 for the last 7 from the floor. Regular season champs in the Colonial Athletic Association is Hofstra. Lost to Northeastern in the conference tournament championship game last weekend. Here's the skip pass to Bowie. Big shot from the wing.
Well, you see the game plan by Kevin Keats. Put 2 on Wright Foreman. He's got to give it up, but there are shooters on the floor. Bowie, 35% from 3.
Defensive Player of the Year in the CAA. He's got 11 points tonight. Funderburk off the mark.
Big defensive rebound. Hofstra's got to control that glass. It's got to be one and done.
Approaching the midway point of our second half. Dwyer left open, blocked by Funderburk. Count the basket, however.
Nice playmaking ability by Justin Wright Foreman. Coming off that ball screen, 2 on him, hits the slip.
So Dwyer, the transfer from Penn, credited with the basket. Back to a 1-possession game, and look now with the experimental rules. NC State's bonus will reset, as will both fouls, or fouls rather, for both sides. Door in the mid-range again, this time misses.
You just know that Joe Mihalik was talking about the defensive glass. 14 second chance points. You got to give yourself a chance in the game by cleaning up the defensive glass.
Right, Foreman, the pass sails out of bounds as he turns it over.
He just made that same pass that led to a bucket. NC State very active defensively. They're making it hard for Wright Foreman. And that's what you have to do. Get the ball out of his hands and contest all the shots.
Kevin Keats told us today, Wright Foreman's probably going to get his 27, but if he does, we want that to occur if he takes 23 shots.
And that's always a question and a dilemma for a head coach. Do you gear your defense to the star, try to limit him under his average, or do you understand he's going to get his average, but don't let the rest of the team get off?
Bryce swings it to Johnson, launches from downtown and connects. Johnson has 14.
Markel Johnson, the best 3-point shooter on this Wolfpack team, 41%.
former member of the ESPN 100. Baseline jumper for Ray is in and out. Beverly thought about it, instead attacks and puts it in. Beautiful move by Braxton Beverly. Beverly with 9, the lead for NC State 7. Big possession now for Hofstra. Strong finish by Bowie.
This has been a different team, NC State, in the second half. They've been more active, more alert. They've gotten steals, forced more turnovers. And they've been pounding the offensive glass.
Bowie off the mark. Johnson clears the rebound.
Hofstra unafraid.
Bryce left open. And a foul on the floor. That'll go against Dan Dwyer. NC State by 5. Coming up, Paul Biancardi will visit in the huddle of Kevin Keats. (67-62) under 8 to play here in the first round of the NIT. NC State a 2 seed with a 5-point advantage, and our veteran officiating crew taking a look at that last sequence. Dan Dwyer may have been guilty of a hook and hold, which would be a flagrant 1 foul. Free throws and possession for NC State. And that will in fact be the call. So a costly turn of events by the official letter of the law, if you will. Legal contact caused by hooking the opponent over under the arm to try to deceive the official into believing it was caused by the opponent, and Dwyer was the guilty party. 2 free throws and possession for NC State on the flagrant 1 hook and hold. Meanwhile, Paul Biancardi in the huddle of Kevin Keats. What did he have to say to his team?
Well, it was a very confident, direct huddle. They talked about the baseline out of bounds. They're just trying to get a simple slip on the defense from Hofstra. But they did talk about their defense against ball screens. Wright Foreman making too many passes to the weak side for the open 3. Look for NC State to rotate to that shot and pass a little bit quicker.
So Wyatt Walker will have 2 free throws.
And Kevin Keats, when he speaks, he just exudes confidence, and all eyes were on him in that huddle. He kept it simple, no fancy speeches, little strategy. Told him to get out there and go get it.
First point for Wyatt Walker tonight.
You see a lot of switching by Hofstra. They were looking for a slip, didn't get it.
Johnson thought about it. Now connects from downtown. Markel Johnson. 17 points on the board for number 11 in white. And NC State with a 9-point advantage, its largest lead. Back iron for Ray. Tapped out to Wright Foreman.
So you can't allow that split off the ball screen.
Only 2 points in the second half for the nation's second leading scorer. Rejected by Walker at the rim. Here comes NC State. Torin Doran swatted away.
The bigs for State have done a really solid job in this game, protecting the rim, hitting the glass.
Ray is short. Taylor the rebound. Wright Foreman.
Hofstra lives off that jump shot in the drive game and the foul game. They don't get to the glass that much.
And how about this sellout crowd tonight inside Valvano Arena at Reynolds Coliseum? They have been in it from the get-go. And Ray will shoot a pair. The NCAA Women's Championship first round begins Friday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on ESPN2. Louisville, the top seed. The Albany Regional will take on Robert Morris. Game is also live on the ESPN app, so you can watch at work or anywhere. One name to remember for the Cardinals, Asia Durr. The great head coach, Jeff Walls. A dynamic duo as Johnson just picked up his 4th personal for NC State.
Yeah, Kevin Keats has to take him out of the game right now, rest him to about the 4-minute, or depending upon how the score changes, if it changes.
He's had quite a run the last 7 games. Almost 17 points per. Has been required to shoot the basketball more this season, Paul, and he's come through in the clutch.
He shot 53% in the last 4 regular season games. Jalen Ray can get hot.
Lead is 7. Dorn back to work. His specialty.
The State has worked that middle part against the zone all night long.
Dorn with 19. Off the bounce, here's Bowie.
They have not settled for that jump shot. They have taken it hard to the basket.
Contested jumper, no good. The putback by Jaquil Taylor.
Taylor's got to give him points and blocks and rebounds. Spent 3 seasons at Purdue. Only played in 38 games. Played against Isaac Haas every day in practice. You have to become a good rebounder.
Well, I mean, you're going to learn something there, right?
Yeah, you're going to learn what physicality is all about. Hofstra needs some stops.
Stops have been hard to come by in this contest tonight. Bryce behind the back, the floater. Good defense by Hofstra.
Yeah, good contest, good cleanup.
Winner of this game will get the winner of Georgetown and Harvard. Right, Foreman connects, just his 2nd bucket of our 2nd half.
Now understand this, 3 in the blue can get hot in a hurry. He can put up big points, and he does it with efficiency. He's an alpha dog on the offensive end.
73-68, a timeout on the floor, approaching 5 to play. And NC State finding a way so far in this 2nd half. Trailed by as many as 7 in the first 20 minutes tonight.
Well, they've done it in different ways, but it's been by their defense, blocking shots, steals, and forcing some turnovers. That's how they get their fast break points, and they have been sensational, just pounding the offensive glass in the 2nd half. Up to 16 second chance points just in the 2nd half alone.
Now the Wolfpack normally play their home games inside the friendly confines of PNC Arena. Tonight here at Reynolds Coliseum, the home court advantage in play in this 2nd half.
And sometimes, Roy, when you play in the NIT at home, 1st round power conference, you don't have this type of home court advantage. A lot of power conference fan bases don't want to show up for the NIT. State fans making a statement tonight.
This game deemed a sellout earlier today. Kevin Keats got to like what he's trying to build here. Just short of the big dance this season, made it in year number 1. Let's see how this one concludes. Out of the break, here's Johnson back on the floor with 4 personals. Top of the key. And he's going to shoot 3, and Justin Wright Foreman can't believe it. Tapped him right on the elbow.
We've seen that 3 times tonight, where the defense has followed the 3-point shooter. And the 3-point line, you see that 2nd line, it's 22 feet,
Ooh.
almost 2 inches. It's the FIBA 3-point line.
I'm going to be honest with you, Coach. I didn't see any contact there. I don't care where that one was shot from. Johnson with 19 points. Make it 20.
Seems like Markel Johnson, Torn Dorn, they're going to try to take this game over for State down the stretch.
Lead is back to 8. First round of the NIT.
See, State got a deflection on that pass.
Right, Foreman. Too strong. And Bryce tapped it out of bounds, but it'll go back to NC State.
A subtle little thing that State did. They got a deflection on that pass. It allowed the defense time to get there. Right, Foreman took a contested 3 because of it.
Dorn on the bench. They've been shaken up a little bit on that last sequence. He's been phenomenal tonight. Hofstra, a program that's won 27 games this year. The school record as Funderburk lost the handle.
I like the simplistic approach by Kevin Keats offensively. You see 4 out behind the three-point line. Funderburk inside. They keep it simple. And part of that is because Kevin Keats, he trusts his team. When you trust your team, you keep things simple.
And Wright Foreman draws the contact against Daniels. That'll be his second. Wright Foreman shooting 2 when we come back. Sports Center headed your way later tonight after the NIT matchup between South Dakota State and Texas with Bucci and Levy. Take a look at the $430 million contract signed by Mike Trout with the Angels earlier today, plus highlights from the first 2 games of the Big Dance and why Duke is the 1 seed most primed for an upset. Sports Center, 11 o'clock Eastern on ESPN and also the ESPN app with Paul Biancardi, Roy Philpott. A strong second half for the Pack here at home.
They're doing it with defense. They're outscoring their opponent on the offensive glass. And Kevin Keats has this team primed for this tournament. And that's a hard thing to do, Roy. He had to play Dr. Phil yesterday.
We wondered, did NC State want to participate in the NIT? Would their heart be in it? Would the effort be there? Would the execution follow suit? The answer to all of those questions, a resounding yes. They have been impressive tonight, despite having the bubble burst on Sunday.
And Kevin Keats understands that he has to put that in the rearview mirror. He did ask, why didn't we get in? And how can we get in next year?
I don't know that we know the answer to that. I don't know that he knows right now.
No, he doesn't. And he didn't spend much time on it. His focus was forward. This game, this team, he understands winning in the NIT sets him up for next season.
Up and under by Johnson. He was tied up. It'll stay on this end. Arrow favors NC State.
Every game you play and win, you build confidence for next year. You get more practice time together.
Winner of this game will challenge the winner of Georgetown and Harvard. That game tomorrow night at Georgetown, 7 o'clock right here on ESPN2. Johnson lifts a 3.
He's been hot in the last 6 games.
A chance for the Pride here on the road. And a turnover. One-on-one, Daniels. Clean block. Bryce puts it back up and in. 18 points for C.J. Bryce.
State forces a turnover, gets an offensive rebound. That's how the Wolfpack scores.
Crowd comes to life.
The acoustics in Reynolds Arena. Incredible.
Wright Foreman with a bounce, an unbelievable shot. Count the basket and a chance for 3.
The more you watch Wright Foreman play, it's the body control and the ability to finish. How about just slithers his way in? He split the ball screen and then he split 2 defenders at the rim. This guy's sensational. Number 2 in the nation at 27 points a game, only behind Chris Clemens from Campbell.
He's got 25 tonight.
And you know he's going to have the ball in his hands down the stretch. He's going to see a double from NC State from time to time. His teammates have to be ready to launch it or drive it.
Under 3 to play, the lead shrinks to 5. NC State the 2 seed, Hofstra out of the Colonial Athletic Association, the 7 seed. Seven to shoot for Johnson. He wants it and takes it. Here comes Jalen Ray. Wright Foreman left open. Big shot here. Count it. 1 possession game just like that.
He loves the big moment. Justin Wright Foreman. When I say he has an alpha dog mentality on the offensive end, he believes in himself. His coaching staff told us today he's a gym rat. He is in the gym after games, early in the morning, and it paid off on that shot with a little shimmy at the end.
29 points tonight, 2 over his season average here in the ACC. He scored 48 in a game earlier this season against William & Mary. And how about this buzzer beater against Northeastern, the Hampstead Heave. This one won the game at the horn, just across half court, off the glass, mind you, Paul Biancardi.
Roy, you said he scored 48 against William & Mary. His freshman season, Justin Wright-Foreman, he scored a total of 44 points. So now as a senior, he scores 48 in the game. He worked on his game. He's a gym rat. He was patient with himself. And Joe Mihalik built the team around Justin Wright-Foreman. It's paid off for both guys.
You're preaching right now, and I'm buying what you're selling. One of the top guards in the country, the second leading scorer in the nation. And he's right up there with the best of the best.
I love when he said today at shoot-around, I wanted it all as a freshman. And then I realized I had to get better. I had to develop, improve, and work on my game.
Crunch time has arrived here inside Reynolds Coliseum. Beverly. Tap back to Hofstra. Jalen Ray controls. Well, it's never easy this time of year.
And Hofstra never goes away because of their offense.
For the lead. Dorn the rebound.
Joe Mihalik said it at shoot-around. We're going to score points. Can we stop State, and can we keep them off the glass?
Under 90 seconds to go. Beverly wants it, takes it. Second consecutive miss. The rebound by Funderburk, and a fresh 30.
Last two shots have been threes. NC State has done a great job getting the ball into the middle against that zone, whether it's a drive or a pass. Flash cut to the middle or drive it.
Johnson was bumped, no whistle, attacking. Puts it in. Markel Johnson with 22.
There's big gaps in that zone, Roy, and you got to attack them.
Kevin Keats calls a timeout. The NC State lead is 4.
And Markel Johnson, last 6 games, averaging 16 points a game. He comes into the night at 11. Nice little crossover. Look at all that space. You got to attack the zone, kick it, flash cut. You just can't settle and launch for threes. That plays right into the hands of any zone.
Bracket looks like this. Winner this one. Battle the winner of Georgetown and Harvard. That game tomorrow night. UNC Greensboro out of the SoCon, the #1 seed, currently battling Campbell and the nation's top scorer in Chris Clemens. That game on ESPN3. Davidson and Lipscomb just outside of Charlotte going on right now as well.
UNCG under Wes Miller, 28 wins this year.
How good was the Southern Conference? UNCG, Furman, Wofford is a 7 seed in the dance.
It's been the best in years. And UNCG just a hair away from getting into the NCAA tournament. You know, they played only 2 games against power conference schools. LSU and Kentucky lost both.
Experimental rules in the NIT. Neither team in the bonus. Takes 5 personal fouls to get there. That number reset at the 9:59 mark of our second half. And here we go. Under a minute to play. Wright-Foreman. Off the bounce. Floater. Put back is good. Jaquil Taylor the basket. Back to a 1-possession affair.
If you're Hofstra right now, you're active in that zone. You give in the middle, but do not give the defensive glass. Clean that up.
A 15-second differential between the clocks.
If there's a miss to Pride, you have to own that defensive glass with a chance to tie it or win it.
Here's Johnson. And a chance for 3. Listen to this crowd.
Great hesitation and go. Not settling. Big time finish. With a chance for one more.
24 points tonight for Markel Johnson, the junior from Cleveland, make it 25. (83-78). Hofstra's got to hurry. What a game this has turned out to be. Ray left open from the wing, well short. Johnson the rebound. And that's going to just about do it.
Everybody wanted to know how NC State would respond after not making the NCAA tournament. The answer tonight has been powerful by Kevin Keatts and his team. From start to finish, the effort has been outstanding.
Justin Wright Foreman, the second leading scorer in the nation. This is going to be his last game. He'll head to the NBA with 29 points tonight. Johnson has 20 in our second half this evening. 84-78. The Pack can feel it now. NC State will survive and advance.
We've heard that before.
Awaiting the winner of Georgetown and Harvard. That'll do it. The Wolfpack, victory number 23 in Kevin Keatts' second season. 84-78 the final score. The second round for NC State. An impressive performance here in the friendly confines. Jim Valvano Arena inside Reynolds Coliseum. This has been a lot of fun tonight. Markel Johnson, 26 points, including 20 in the second half. In front of a sellout crowd. A great night for NC State. Kevin Keatts' team. Figured out a way after trailing by 7 in the first 20 minutes. It was a 3-point deficit at halftime. And a strong performance in the second half, forcing turnovers. Markel Johnson and Torin Dorn with a mid-range game was more than enough. Don't forget Arkansas and Providence headed your way as soon as we wrap things up here in Raleigh. As first round NIT coverage continues on ESPN2. And our Paul Biancardi catch up with Kevin Keatts as you see. Look at the final numbers from tonight. 45-point explosion in the second half. Wright Foreman with 29 points. It was not enough. In his final collegiate contest, Markel Johnson with 26 and Torin Dorn with 19. Paul Biancardi, the winning coach Kevin Keatts. Paulie Buckets, what do you got?
Kevin, you were obviously frustrated and disappointed about the NCAA tournament. How'd your team respond tonight?
I thought our guys came out and played tremendous. Give Joe and his team a lot of credit. I've been in that league. I know how it is. It's a tough league. They're a good basketball team. But I thought we were really good tonight, especially in the second half, and give Markel Johnson a lot of credit.
Yeah, speak about your sophomore, Markel Johnson, 26 points for the game.
You know, he played great, Paul. You know, when we needed him to make a basket, he did. When we needed him to get a stop, he did. I thought he was tremendous. He found everybody, got everybody involved, and obviously he took the game over late in the game.
Last thing, what will the message be to the team?
Well, just keep building. You know, we were disappointed, but that's over. You know, we're in another tournament. You know, obviously we want to keep building, and this is a building block win for our program. We want to continue to have success, and we want to move to the next game.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Paul.
84-78 the final score. The NIT continues with Arkansas and Providence, but first we send you back to the studio. Good night from Raleigh.